Part 2. I'm back. Okay, so no one told me, again, we'll talk about that spiritual hallway, that holding pattern. When you're getting to know who you are in that new realm, you're not the old you, but you're not yet the new you either. So you're in a holding pattern to get to know who you are before you get ready to walk through the next door. Okay? No one told me it was going to be easy. I heard what Jesus, Yeshua, Yahweh went through, as well as Buddha, and how they hated them so they would me. Talking about Jesus, Yeshua, Yahweh, how they said they hated him. He said they hated me, so they're going to also hate you. So don't be too upset because they didn't receive me, so they're not going to receive you. I would have never amounted that how much black people and African Americans are disdained on this planet. I just never knew. I just never knew. Because I've traveled around the world. And it's like I said, I was in the military, so I traveled around the world. So you didn't really get to see it unless it was covert racism. I didn't really get to see it. You know what I mean? Unless again it was covert and I wasn't paying attention. Like maybe I was on a mission, because there's a scripture in the Bible that says a soldier doesn't pay attention to what's going on in the earthly affairs because they too busy doing what needs to be done. However, they want everything that we make, invent, live, create, music, thoughts, fun, land, hope, coolness, peace. And when that's done, they say, we're paranoid and we're like, what are you doing? Why can't we go somewhere and just have fun and not be bothered? That's the whole world gaslight in one group. And it's not everyone. It is just from my perspective. And someone else that's not African American may not see it this way, but this is how we see it. We go somewhere, it's cool, we do a dance, everybody wants to do the dance. If we do something, everybody wants to do it. And what I've noticed is it's not every particular person, but what happens is we're talked about because of our lips, and then people go get the fillers for their lips, and they talk about our nose, and then they go get the rhinoplasty to open up their nose more. And they tell me, well, I couldn't breathe. Well, how is it you could breathe like that for 20 years, and then all of a sudden you've seen how somebody was talking about how beautiful the black woman is, and you went and got your nose bigger? Or how you go to the tanning booth and sit in the tanning booth for hours to get your skin bronzed, and then you go and get a BBL to have hips just like a black woman, and then you date black men on purpose. But then you say it's ugly on me, but then it's great on you because you're okay. Make it make sense. So many benefit from what we do, but not us. More than what we do needs to be kept quiet as we build. If not, it goes mainstream before it's all put together, and it won't even see the light of day. All humans need to check our hearts. The civil rights era was quiet about everything until it wasn't, until it was time to be open, right? We need to build up more of our mental fortitude instead of wanting to always be seen. When it's dark, that's when we should be working the hardest. When no one is looking, what are you doing? Even if it's just the basics. Just the basics. We are one. So we have all the same issues on a daily basis. However, when it comes to what we do, we fight against what we know isn't the flow of God, or do we fall victim to the things that we can see and walk away from the things that we can't see? So it's basically like, are we going to go with the flow of the spirit realm? Or are we going to constantly just flow with what we see and not what we can't see? Things we can't see are actually more, they're realer than the things you can see. and read Psalm 65. Everyone is watching the earth. We must learn from the past and not recreate it. We get the opportunity to replace greed with love. The question is, will we rise above what we know to do to become who we want to be? I had to sit and think about that today. I did a lot of meditating. This message had me meditating a lot and just grounding myself. The next song I heard was How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You, James Taylor, in the early, I think it's the 70s or 80s. And Psalms 23 said, it was talking about the rod and thy strength shall comfort me, where the staff is trust. When I trust and believe, I can lean on God, and that carries my weight and cares of my mind. When I place that energy towards my heart, the weight is no longer as heavy. It's still the same weight, but not distributed properly. It would be distributed properly as I go uphill. Because as you're building your life, you're going uphill. And when you're building, it is taking your thoughts from here and bringing them to your heart. Because once you bring it to your heart, it's just different. Because in this world that we live in, it is just so much going on that you cannot see. So to come from your heart, you live in your intuition, you stay in love, you stay in peace, you stay in honor. At the same time, you also put up boundaries, and you don't put up with no mess. You just don't. You put up them boundaries, and the boundaries say, I don't have time. I really don't have time to be dealing with this mess. I understand it is here, but if that's a life you want to live, that's fine, but you're going to live it over there. Because I'm going this way. And see, that's what boundaries are. Boundaries are putting them up and saying, I don't have time for this. Okay. And then it was audible. I heard Psalm 75. Basically, they burned everything to show that there was proof. And even with the things in Egypt, the pyramids and the statues, they broke off the nose. They broke off the nose in order to keep the lie that they've been telling for all these 400 plus years. And now everything is coming out saying that, yes, Egyptian, Kemet, and everyone else was Cush. And we know that the Cushites were black people. But that makes sense because Egypt is in Africa. And Egypt didn't turn over to the Arabians until they took over after Solomon passed. Because you remember, after when Solomon was living, God told him not to do certain things, and Solomon did. And he said, your throne was going to be the last throne. And so after that, it was an uprising with the Arabians, and then they took over Egypt. So that had Egypt for so long that everybody thought that's what Egypt was, and it wasn't. You can look at the hieroglyphics and get that. That wasn't right. Because they whitewashed the hieroglyphics, but now you see the hieroglyphics for what it is. You can hide it for a minute, but you can't hide it forever. Most of the past of black people was destroyed, and now the truth is being revealed. We were in captivity for so long that we began to behave like those who had took us from our land. And that was one of the rules that God has said through Jeremiah. You can look at Jeremiah chapters 28 through chapter 33 or 34. And he said that we need to get back to worshiping God in whatever way that is conducive to us, and get away from the greed and the utter selfishness. Yes, be selfishness with your time, but also see what's going on around you. We can change things, but we must believe that we can go forward. I put this in my first person, so I'm saying this in the first person and sharing it with you as well. I must do what I hear and must stay planted in the truth that helps me to move forward. Because if I'm planted in a lie, I'm moving forth in a lie. And I'm so glad that last year in 2024, so many lies where the truth was being brought to the forefront from all those lies that were being told. And I'm so thankful that more and more truth is being brought forth in 2025. And more truth is going to be dropped. And we need to see it for what it is and not say, no, that ain't what it is. Because you can't fight